There's a lot to look forward to with the upcoming total solar eclipse. It's a completely different experience than a partial eclipse. On April 8th, the moon will totally block the sun, leaving the sun's outermost layer, the corona, visible to the naked eye, just like a glowing ring in the sky.
That's right, and here to tell us everything we need to know about this year's total solar eclipse, we have Chief Meteorologist McCray joining us to tell us more about it. Hey, how are you, man?
Pretty good, but it sounds like you guys have it all figured out already.
Right?
That was a great lesson, Brandy.
I can tell you.
We have so many questions,
What was the name of the beer, or the ring, or whatever you said?
Yeah,
the
that was
Corona.
impressive.
Very nice.
But we have so many questions. We have so many questions.
We do. So let's talk about what makes this eclipse special and what can we plan to see in our area.
All right, so a total solar eclipse, happening anywhere in the United States, it just doesn't happen that often, so this is really pretty cool. The last one also went through the middle part of the country on a bit of a different path, but that was 2017, and for a lot of people that was the first time they ever got to see a total solar eclipse, and I know a lot of those people, including me, said, in 2024, I'm going to do it again. It was that worth it. But here's the thing. In the Quad Cities, we're going to be at about 90 to 91%, depending on exactly what part of the Quad Cities you're in. It's pretty cool. We'll talk about the glasses here in a little bit.
Yeah.
You can watch the eclipse through the glasses, but it's not going to get dark here in the Quad Cities like maybe some of the stories you've read online.
Sure.
You have to get into that path of totality.
Okay.
I did it in 2017, and again, it was worth it. The traffic on the way back to the Quad Cities was miserable. It was still worth it, though.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay. So is there a good area at all? So you're saying we're not going to see any kind of darkness in our area. We're going to have to drive.
Yeah, we will definitely have to drive if you want to get into that path of totality. Again, there's a huge difference between 90% and 100%. That's the path of totality.
Okay. Sure.
There's even a big difference between 98 and 99% and 100%. You have to be in that little cone where you are directly, fully in the shadow of the moon. So you can make a little bit of a drive here. We have a map, actually. I can show you on the weather computer. So this eclipse, it'll come up through Mexico and Texas, and it'll go through the middle part of the country here. And what we're looking at here, most of the country will be able to see at least a little bit of this, again, with your glasses on. But if you want to get to where it actually gets dark in the middle of the afternoon coming up on Monday, you have to make a bit of a drive. It's not too far from the Quad Cities. It's just down Interstate 74, 4 hours or less. You can go down to Illinois, southern Illinois, or over into Indiana. These places within the path of totality, and it will get dark for a little while. Now, where you see the blue line, that's the center of the path, and that's where it'll be darkest for the longest, which in some places for this eclipse is all the way up around 4 minutes or so. Last eclipse, the maximum, I think what I saw was about 2.5 minutes, and it legitimately got pretty dark in the middle of the afternoon. For that one, I was down by Marion, Illinois.
So it won't get dark here, but would there be any other effects in our area with animals, with anything else, or is it just kind of a normal day? Yeah, weather. Yeah, the weather.
So it's important for here, if it's cloudy, then you're not really going to be able to see anything at all.
Right.
These protect your eyes. They don't see through the clouds or anything like that. So it'll be kind of a bit of a bummer. The glasses will be a little bit of a waste because, again, you can't see through the clouds. Now, if you're in the path of totality, it's still better when you can see that outer edge of the sun, so you want it to be clear. But even if it is cloudy, you'll notice how unusual it is when it's getting dark at around 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on where you are.
And so some of the animals in those areas, they'll notice.
In those areas, yeah. I was, again, down in southern Illinois back in 2017. You hear the birds start chirping a little bit differently. They think it's nighttime.
That's crazy.
I mean, and that year I would say it looked a lot like dusk, right, in the middle of the afternoon. Well, this year it's actually going to get a little bit darker because the moon is a little bit closer to the Earth. So the totality lasts a little bit longer, and I'm expecting it to get even a little bit darker than it did 7 years ago.
Is there a spot within the country that is like the ideal spot? Because I know you can say to go to southern Illinois, but where's like the...
there's not a huge difference anywhere along that blue line that was in the middle of the path. There are some places where it works out. You might get 30 seconds more of totality, but if you're on the blue line, you're in a good spot, especially if it's sunny.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's talk about the glasses.
Yes.
And we need these glasses to view the eclipse, so and they're pretty important, you say.
Yep, they have to be approved, obviously. This is something that you don't want to mess with. It has all the safety information here.
Yeah.
Don't buy them from somewhere obviously you don't trust, but they're for sale just about everywhere. They're all good. You don't want to even risk it by looking at the sun when the eclipse is going on without these on.
So
Okay.
when are we seeing the next one? And you said you can
Will we be
schedule these
alive?
out for like thousands of years, right?
Again, they won't be total 100% here in the Quad Cities, but there's another one in 2033 that's affecting some people in the country, in the United States. So that's a little bit of Alaska, 2043, a little bit of Montana, and then I think it's 2045 is the next big one that goes all across the United States. So it's a little ways away, but that'll be one that goes from California to Florida, then down into the Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
And again, the cool thing about totality, I'm not sure how much time we have left though, but for those few minutes when you're in totality, that's the only time that it's okay to take the glasses off. You can look directly up at the sun or where the sun is because you can't really see it. You see a big black disk there in front of the sun, that's the moon, but all around the outer edges of the moon, that's where you see that, the outermost layer of the sun, which is always there. You just can't normally see it because the middle of the sun is so bright it washes it all out. Well, that worst part of the sun covered up by the moon, and you get to see it, and it's something that you just don't really forget.
Okay, quickly, tell us what time, though, that we can see this here in our area.
So in the Quad Cities, it'll be around 12:30, 12:45 or so when it starts. It'll be at its maximum here at around 2 o'clock, and it wraps up at about 3:15 or so. Love the Quad Cities. Don't ever recommend people going away from the Quad Cities. There's plenty of stuff to do here. This is a day people should make a drive away from the Quad Cities.
All right.
It'll be worth it.
All right. Well, Andy, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Can't wait for Monday.
Definitely. All right. So if you have any questions for Andy about the upcoming total solar eclipse, you can email him at amccray@whbf.com.
And we'll have all those details posted at ourquadcities.com. More Living Local continues after the break. Stay with us.